Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're doing an Ask Sarah segment, which is a new segment I have for Tuesdays, and I'm really excited about it. I just started last week. I asked you guys to send in some questions via email, and I also asked you to send in some video questions by just turning your phone landscape and recording a question and sending it via email. There were a few of you that were brave enough to send video questions, but also just take written ones too. I know it can be hard and intimidating to videotape yourself, or record rather, I guess is what we say these days. It's taken me like 5.5 years to somewhat get used to it, and I still forget things like checking a mirror before I start, and it can be intimidating, the camera, but I really appreciate those brave ones of you who were able to do it and send me video questions. So I'll stick them in here and there because there weren't very many of them, but I do have a lot of emails already, and I'm just gonna work my way through them. We'll just get some of them done today, but you guys can still submit questions whenever you have them, but it's asksarah@ourtribeofmany.com. So you can tell I'm in a new place. I love being outside in nature. I have different scenery today. If you follow my regular vlogs, they are ahead. It's like one thing I'm doing right in life right now is being ahead in my vlogs, because I'm usually not much ahead, but it really helps me when I am. So I'm glad to be ahead, but I'm wanting to answer questions that you just submitted in the last week. So although my vlogs are about 2 weeks behind or ahead, whatever, of my life, this is more up to date, and you can see that we are in sunny Florida. My parents live here in Florida, and our circumstances of how we're here on a vacation are different than normal. So you'll have to wait for the vlogs to see what's different. It's quite unusual, actually. Never done this before. You'll have to wait for that to check it out, but you do get a sneak peek that we are here in beautiful sunny Florida. And I'm sitting on a dock outside of my parents' house. It's not their dock, but they do have friendly neighbors, so hopefully they said no one would mind, and hopefully the wind's not too loud too. Okay, so let's get to the questions. The first one I'm gonna answer is from Melissa, and I picked hers because she was very brave to send a video question.
Hi Sarah, what are your thoughts on organic food? I know you tend to be pretty healthy with food, but I haven't noticed that you buy organic, so what are your thoughts?
I had a long season of my life where when we looked at buying fruits and vegetables for our kids, which we really wanted them to be used to and know and have a variety in and just have all the time, have a supply of, we really couldn't afford organic at all. And I had to just really come to terms with the fact that I would rather my kids eat fruits and vegetables, and Solo and I talked about it a lot. We'd rather them eat it than not eat it because we couldn't afford organic. To us, it was more important that way. Fast forward to now, I'd have to just change my budget a lot, but I could do all organic, and we'd have to rearrange how we're spending our money, but I don't, this is sharing a lot here that I probably haven't shared before, but I don't have a lot of faith in grocery store food, and I've just read too much that makes me question the validity of organic labels in the grocery store. I see the validity in organic stuff, and when we buy from local farmers, I really appreciate when they are just doing everything they can to grow organically, whether they're certified organic or not. For instance, we live by cornfields, so our garden probably would not ever be able to be certified organic, not that we would want it to get that certification, but because there are pesticides in the air from just the farmers around us. Thankfully, it's not on all sides, but we do have fields near us. So I do appreciate when farmers are just doing their best with their gardens and selling their produce at farmers markets, and there's a lot of benefit to that, and we like it and we will pay for that. We also grow that way ourselves whenever we can. And we do buy all our grains now pretty much from Azure Standard, which is all organic, and I can appreciate that. I really trust the company. So I guess I just have read too much about the grocery stores, what you're getting there, and the labels, and how true or not true they are really. People talking about working in factories where organic and non-organic were just being produced right next to each other. So I'm just to be honest, I'm just a little confused about that and not willing to just put a lot of money into buying everything organic from grocery stores. So that's just where I'm at. I don't know everything by any means. I am no expert in the field. I haven't even done a ton of research on the grocery stuff. I've just seen enough that now that we could rearrange our budget and things, I just feel like it's working for us. Our kids eat a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables, and that's what's the most important to me right now. I would really like to just produce our own food so we know exactly what's in it and how it's being grown, all that stuff. So that, I hope, answers your question. Hi, Noelle. Thanks for joining me. Okay, Jen asked, or she said, we have a busy household, 8 kids, ages 8 and under, 8, 6, 5, 4, 2 sets of twins, 2 years old and 6 months old. So they have 2-year-old twins and 6-month-old twins, besides the other 4. Our oldest loves to be in the spotlight and has a hard time cheering and celebrating her younger siblings. How do we best encourage her to be happy for others? Thanks, Jen. That's a good question. Well, I think that age could lean more toward that. So it could be a season. I've had that kid's age a number of times, and it can be a little more just that 6, 7, 8 where they're just starting to really focus on themselves a lot, and it's hard to see others because they're, you know, it's a stage of their development. So I do think some of it could be that. I think in our house, I'm not sure, I don't have enough information about your household, but one thing we do that I think encourages that is I let the kids help with the younger ones a lot. So, or their older siblings, because they would have that age, they would have older siblings or younger siblings in our house right now. But as my kids, when they were the oldest at that age, at 8 or so, they helped out with the little ones. Not that they were raising them in any way, but I would ask them, oh, could you get this for them? Or do you want to hold them for a second? Or they would ask me, most of the time they would ask me. And so they felt like involvement in their younger siblings' lives. I know some people, ooh, I'm gonna sweat check here. But some people are very cautious about not wanting their older kids to raise their younger kids when they have a lot of children. And just because they've heard the horror stories, you know. And I think some people can overcompensate where they don't have their older kids involved at all with the younger kids' lives. And I've seen a great benefit from just finding that balance where they're not, the responsibility is not on them, but they all also are involved with the younger siblings' lives. I think that's helped in our house for them to be more invested in the lives of their younger siblings. But of course, each personality is different, and you may just have a child whose personality is different in that way as well. So I think that's the best thing I can offer. I know, like yesterday, for instance, Noelle, who was just sitting behind me, she's 8, and she asked to take care of the baby, Peace, to get her up out of bed and to feed her breakfast. And that's not something that she would normally do. She's gotten her out of bed before, but she even wanted to change her. And normally I'd change all the diapers solo ride. And so, unless we're gone, you know, and one of the kids is babysitting. So I was like, okay, if you want to. And she did such a great job. I helped her with the diaper, but she did such a great job and she loved it. She felt very proud of it. So I think that's a way that they can be, when they have, especially when they have desire, or sometimes I can help them have desire if they didn't, by just giving them small tasks that make them feel like, oh, I did something to help out with this one. And, you know, I don't know, I think it might make it more apart. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head that I would start with. And maybe you're already doing that, and it might just be a phase. So let me also introduce to you the sponsor for today's video, which is me. I'm the sponsor of today's video. I wanted to remind you guys that I have a course on home management. It is going so well. I also created a community, so you can buy the course, or you can buy the course and the community for a really good price, where we're in there chatting together, getting to know each other. It's a much smaller environment, so we're able to chat back and forth. That's going really well. The course is going really well. I put a lot into it. It is 7 weeks, so it's 49 videos, and I just poured everything I know about household management as a mom of 11 into this course. I am so excited about it, so I would love it if you could check that out. I have a link for it in the description box below. Check out this message from my friend.
Kim here, homeschooling mom to 5 and chaos coordinator since 2009. I wanted to say I found Sarah right when I started homeschooling about 5 years ago, and I ate up her videos, and I pretty much do all of the logistical things in our household that she does. Some things I've adjusted, like we do 2-month grocery hauls instead of 1-month grocery hauls. She has taught me everything I know, and I am ever so grateful. And she asked me to look through this course and give her my thoughts and ideas. And I was still learning. It is literally everything I learned compiled into one plus. And I'm ever so grateful and indebted to her again. She's an amazing teacher. This is definitely her niche. And if you can swing it, do it. If you can't swing it, figure out how to figure it out, because her course is pretty awesome.
Thank you so much to my friend Kim for making me that video. I didn't even ask her to do it, and it was so sweet. It made me cry. She's a friend I met really through the blog, but through another friend, and yeah, she took the whole course, so thank you for that, Kim. I appreciate it. Okay, Kristen asked, and now I'm competing with boats, but the view's worth it, right? It's so pretty. Oh, that's even a better view, but I have nowhere to sit in front of that. Kristen asked, do you pasteurize your milk? No, Kristen, we do not. Ever since we started buying raw milk, which I think was like 9 months to a year ago, we do not pasteurize our milk. We've seen a lot of health benefits from it. I've talked about that a number of times, and yeah, allergies especially. That's been the biggest thing. It's helped allergies for the ones in our family that suffer from allergies a lot. My daughter is picking beautiful flowers for me. Tony said, I've been watching your channel since Seth was small and always wondered, do you and Solo plan on having more babies? That question always gets asked. I don't know if you ever heard this story, but when Solo and I got married, he wanted 3 to 4 kids, and I was like, 4 to 12. I always wanted 12 kids, always. I love children, and Solo loves them as well, and obviously I'm winning. We don't have any particular number in mind anymore, but we really just ask the Lord every time, and I would love to have another baby. If that happens, I'm not sure what the Lord has in store for us, so that is always a popular question. I think it'd be nice to have a dozen, but you know, we'll see what God says. Single mom by choice. This is Jasmine. She said, I'm 35 years old, or a 35-year-old female who doesn't have any prospects for marriage. Based on your experience with motherhood, at what age would you recommend giving up on the traditional route and instead becoming a mother by use of a donor? Of course, I'd love the blessing and partnership of marriage, but if I wait too long, I could end up with neither. P.S. I've frozen my eggs a couple years ago as a backup plan. Thank you. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. Jasmine, thank you so much for the question. I am honored that you are interested in my thoughts, actually. I do have some thoughts, and I'll just give you my really honest thoughts because you asked for them. My experience in motherhood. My experience is that Solo plays such a vital role in both our boys' and girls' lives that I personally would not go the route on purpose of becoming a single mother. I know that that's possible. Like, something could happen to Solo tomorrow and I would be a single mother. He could just decide to walk out the door, right, too? And that happens where people are in that situation, but because I see the benefit of a father figure in their lives, I just would not go that route on purpose. It is that big of a benefit. It is huge. And if something did happen to Solo, I would do everything I could to try to replace that in their lives, although nothing would replace that fully, if that makes sense, in my view. So that's one aspect of it. I wouldn't do that. The other aspect of it is that, now this is just my thoughts, because you asked me what my thoughts are. Personally, I have so many women in my life who either never got married or got married after they were of childbearing age, or were infertile and never were able to have children, that have been such a tremendous blessing to me and to other people that I've witnessed, like such an amazing mother figure and inspiration, mentor, that I believe there's so much motherhood fulfillment. In fact, I have some very close family members that are in this position. They have been able to fulfill that desire to be a mother in other ways, as they just gave that to God, and they were just able to be a mother to so many more than I am, even, you know, in real tangible ways. But also, I don't believe that motherhood is everything for us. You know, I think that we can find fulfillment outside of it as well. And so that's just kind of my thoughts, and that's based on the women I've observed in my life that never had children of their own. So yeah, that's my thoughts. If that would have been me personally, I am very passionate about orphans. I met Solo when I was working in an orphanage. That's why I went to nursing school. I would be overseas, somewhere where there were a lot of orphans without anyone, and that's what I would be doing with my life. So I think that for me, that wouldn't have been a compromise. It would have been, okay, this is what God has for me. But yeah, that's my thoughts, and I really appreciate you, Jasmine, asking. I am not in that position. I have obviously a house full of children, and so also know that I'm not in that position and you are, so you have to know what's right for you. Penny asked, have you thought about eating vegetarian or vegan for a week and filming your recipes, etc.? I love this question because, oh, she's in Wakefield, West Yorkshire, England, UK. First of all, I love meeting people from all over the world from this channel. It's like one of the best things about it. It is really incredible. And all over the United States too. Penny, we did this once. I think a year and a half ago, we did a week of, we went straight vegan. I always said I could be a vegetarian because I am not quite as obsessed with meat as I really love vegetables a lot, and I could eat beans and rice for a long time. But yeah, we did do vegan, and my kids complained a lot. It was hard, my husband too. But it was really fun. It was interesting because veganism, I would say, is very popular, and it was then when we did it. And so we kind of want to know, what's it really about, you know? Just try it for a week. And here's what I learned. Okay, if I was to actually eat vegan, which I don't, I think meat has a lot of benefits for our bodies too, especially our bodies, our families. The one thing we did is we started looking for more and more recipes, and it started being like copycatting meat recipes. And it was a lot of work, a lot of money, and not that great tasting when we just ate recipes that we normally eat and take the meat out of them, or we have some vegetarian meals and we just made them vegan that we normally eat, like Kenyan meals and just beans and rice type things, and greens greens with ugali, which is a grain, and it's like cornmeal mush that Kenyans eat. When we just ate like our regular food that we already love, it was way better. So if we ever were doing vegetarian or vegan, for whatever reason that would be, we would just eat like fruits and vegetables and grains and not try to copycat the other stuff, have the vegan cream cheese and all the different things. That's what got to be too much. That's the part we thought, why were we doing that? We should just eat our regular food. So that was my thoughts on going vegan or vegetarian. Mary said, hi Sarah, I just wanted to say I love your show and your family. Your family's so beautiful and very respectful. Love you all. Thank you, Mary, that's sweet. Okay, she said, I'm 38 years old and 13 and a half weeks pregnant with my second child. My first son is 11, and it's like being fresh all over again. My question is, please, how long did your morning sickness take to end? I feel yuck. Did you have the same issue, and when did yours go away? She's from El Centro, California, and her weather is 103 today, so I have nothing to complain about. I think we're in the 80s here. It's just humid. Mary, I had it so bad. I have terrible, terrible morning sickness. I'm not a vomiter. I only vomited a handful of times in my whole life, but I get so sick, and it's very miserable. I would always get sick till about 13 weeks for when I was younger, and then as I got into my mid-30s, it went up to even 18 weeks sometimes, and I thought, well, as I'm getting older, it's just getting worse. And then I kept having pregnancies into my 40s, and it actually got shorter. So I don't think age has a ton to do with it. I really wonder. I've tried different things like eating low carb. Sometimes that has helped, seemed to have helped, or just eating whatever feels right. That's what I tend to go back to the most, which is often French fries. I just kind of make it through those times. I hope for you that it is almost over, even by the time you're watching this video. Maybe it's over. Yeah, I have not found the big secret, but I don't think age has a ton to do with it personally from what I've observed. And I hope that's the case for you too, that it will just end soon. I think it's so exciting that you have an 11-year-old and you're gonna have a baby. That is a fun age gap. Like, it's gonna make your household much different and much more exciting. Hold on to that anticipation about what life's about to be and how wonderful and amazing it's gonna be. I know sometimes in the moment when you have really bad morning sickness, it can feel like it is not worth it. I will admit that I have felt that before, like, is this really worth it? And you really have to speak to your mind that just one day at a time, sometimes 1 hour at a time, sometimes hanging your head off the couch or bed. I mean, you just keep going, and eventually you'll look back and it will seem like a shorter time. So, all right, this one's asked, how do you cope when you only had little kids and your husband was working a lot? My husband's a pastor but works a full-time job as well to allow me to be a stay-at-home mom. Our daughter is 10 months, but sometimes it feels overwhelming to be doing everything by myself all day, every day when he's working so much. So a 10-month-old and your husband's work. First of all, shout out to pastors and pastors' families. A lot of pastors have another full-time job. I know we pretty much always have. So they do a lot to pay the bills, and and that don't often get enough credit for it. So yeah, just want to give a shout out to that. For me, the biggest thing is expectations. So when I know exactly when I can count on him being home, and I know that, okay, these days I got to get through, and then he's going to be home this day, and he is, then that helps me a lot. But our other job has always been kind of like make your own hours, so that's been big for us. It's like, okay, I need you to make hours that I can predict, or just give me times where I know for sure you'll be home. So that has been helpful to me. If you don't, or if you're not in that kind of situation, I think just having a routine in your life, especially with a 10-month-old, where you have time to yourself. If you need people in your life more, if you need more interaction, like you're more of an extrovert, just making ways like you're taking the baby and doing play dates or whatever to be with people, because sometimes it can be very lonely too, especially when you just have a baby. I would think some of those things, having times where you're planning, like, we're going to have this time together, I'm looking forward, we're gonna have this date night, or we're gonna have these 2 evenings a week we'll just have together, or this morning we're gonna do breakfast together. Those are the kind of things that help me a lot. So sometimes also just knowing it's a season, we're gonna get through the season, and then it's gonna get better. I think expectations for me are very helpful. So that might be something that helps you. And seeing other people, texting all day long, just keeping that communication going so you don't feel like you're just never seeing each other, never communicating. Those kind of things can be very helpful. Little phone calls for lunch if he's not able to get home, or meeting him for lunch. Those things go a long way as well. So I hope that was helpful in some way. You were doing a great job. I'm sure she didn't want her name shared, but I know there's a lot of people in that same situation. So I really appreciate her sending that question in. With any of these, if you guys have your own thoughts on any of them, I'd love to hear those as well. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I'm going to get through some more questions next Tuesday. You can still send some in at asksarah@ourtribeofmany.com. And we will see you in the next video. The regular vlogs coming on Thursday. Noelle, you want to say goodbye? Bye. We're going to let our flowers float in the water.